it's crazy how life works sometimes, man. It's how we first met, I think was that the pod meet and greet? It was a couple
Yeah,
years. It was
yeah,
at the
definitely
pod.
was.
So the pod meet and greet. Dang, that seems like it's forever ago, man.
Yeah,
That's
it
how
was.
that's how long we both been doing this.
Exactly.
Me and my boys, we was doing medium lit, man. Shout out to my
Yeah.
brothers,
Shout out
man.
to Medium Lit, man.
Yeah, the people, folks, folks want us to bring it back, and it's funny. We can get into that in a second, but I know you and my boy Johnny, uh,
Mhm.
y'all have oversaturated, man, and
Mhm.
just seeing y'all grow and to continue, man. But before we get into all that, man, I just want the world to know who you are, man. You've been like a big brother to me, and I've been watching you from along the way, man. Obviously, I think the last time I saw you, man, ironically enough, I think he was at OC. I think
Yeah,
he was open.
yeah, yeah. The liquor had us in our feelings, man. Like,
Yeah,
nah,
but
there was.
we had like a real therapeutic
Yeah,
conversation about.
it's real when you pull somebody to the side and you get into some real shit. But no, man. Shout out to you, Rashad, man, and I just uh been delighted to see what you've been able to do. I follow your content. I share it whenever I can. Whatever I can do to uplift you, bro. But I'm Ralph from one half of Oversaturated. The podcast. We've been doing it going on 7 years now. We had some peaks and valleys. As anything you put into, like passion projects and things like that, the growth has been there. I encourage anybody that's listening to this to, check us out, give us a chance. We're on all major streaming platforms. Just search Oversaturated Podcast for real.
Man, first off, 7 years is a long time, brother. I just want to put
Yeah,
that put that out there, and I
yeah.
think I'm trying to think. When we started doing medium lit, we just got started when we first met y'all, man. Well,
Yeah.
that I remember. I think when y'all was talking to us, y'all might have been a year or two in at that point.
Well, whatever it's been a while though. Yeah, it was. We may have been there in maybe 3, 4 years at that point because I think we had a recent logo change. Like I can pinpoint certain things in
yeah,
the OS timeline by what we've done. So we changed our logo, and I think we had new shirts that day. So that's what makes me, go
no, I
ahead.
think that's well, first off, brother, how have you been, man? How's life? I think first off, for to get into that, man, I think I'm glad that we're doing this kind of like we
Yeah.
said before, man. Just that we've well, I don't see you all the time.
Hmm.
When we've talked, I feel like every conversation really has been enduring and uplifting. I mean, honestly, you got me back in the gym, man. Seeing you doing all your gym content, I'm like
Hey.
when I see Ralph, I'm like, it's time to go back and work out, man. But how's everything been?
Everything's been decent for the most part. We know the story, but we can get into that a little bit later for the listeners. But um, good, man. Just coming out of the holiday season, I do feel blessed. Just to survive another holiday season. Me and the wife, the family, just being around loved ones. Those that type of thing. So I've been good for the most part, man. What about yourself?
Hey, man, I can't complain. I think season wise, I think this is like this. And I don't like I hate hearing when people say like, this is eras. Like I know you've been seeing that like on social media now. Like
This is
I
my
hate
such and such era. Yeah.
I I despise it so much. I don't hate on the meaning. I just think that I think eras or just a word that people use, not really understanding like the true meaning of an era. And your era
Mhm.
can change even while you're in that era because
Yeah,
life happens. So I'm not
absolutely.
going to hate on all the way. I just think it's cringe. No, it's been a very big transformational time. I think personally, man. I think
Hmm.
really the biggest thing is I like to say is I'm trying to heal myself, not from I think when people think of healing, they think of like you had to lose somebody or a
Hmm.
bad breakup or whatever. No, I just really think that I really am trying to get to a space to being the best version of myself, and then also really just to be a better black man. Honestly, I
Yeah.
mean, I think that that's something that I think me and you kind of have in common when we have these conversations, and I think why as I've gotten older, what's always been important to me is to be myself
Yeah.
and to talk about things that are important. But really having these conversations, man, like
Absolutely.
it's hard for us to when you see people doing the same thing, I think it's natural to have a sense of like competition and like see what this person's doing, that
Yeah,
person doing. But I've never really felt that way with anybody who does anything creatively. I mean, I think it's a space for all of us to be successful and well. So when I see it, man, I try to big it up, man, and keep everybody going, or somebody keep me going, or whatever. So
absolutely. Because I can't look at I can't look at people that inspire me as competition. No, you inspire me. Like those are two different things. Like my competition is, I guess, the people that I think that are like up there, like them the people I'm shooting for. But if we down here grinding together, I see as your inspiration for real.
I don't think people understand, man. And you've been in it longer than me.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that grind, man. Just about making content. The crazy thing is, like, everybody has a pod now, and at
Yes,
least
yeah,
me and my boys should joke about that. Like, it's the most annoying thing, but
yeah,
it is something that a lot of people do, man. And I
yeah.
don't think people really recognize like what it really takes to
Absolutely.
keep it going.
Absolutely. Let me go down this rabbit hole. Well, the first reason we named Oversaturated the podcast was because we felt the market was itself was oversaturated. So that was like the aha, right? The aha moment. And then me and Johnny can go from these conversations that me and you are having to anything that's entertainment based or whatever, right? So we
Yep.
just kind of stay into those lanes.
Yep.
But when you talk about doing podcasting and doing something that people feel like they can all do, we all can grab a mic and do all this. But I think it's ultimately scarier to be like, to be yourself on these mics and these platforms. And that's what people fail to realize. Give a take and stand on it. Whatever your take is, you can be completely wrong in that take, but make sure that that's how you truly feel.
Yep.
Don't echo the sentiments of the masses. Don't, don't try to be, I can't be, like one of the people I kind of like look to was like, like obviously like a Charlemagne or Bomani Jones. Like those are the type of people that I look at. They're like up here, and I'm like, hey, I would really like to be like them. But however, Ralph can't be them. Like because you can go to them for that. If I want you to listen to me, I want you to listen to me for me. So it's truly finding your voice in this whole thing, and that's
Yeah.
hard to do, especially when you're a consumer of content yourself, at least to me, because I am a sponge, bro. Like
Man.
I find myself mimicking something. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not me. Let's chop this back up and get to how Ralph would really interpret or disseminate this information and present it.
Yeah. No, I think that's the biggest thing, man. I mean, I was honestly when we was doing ML, man, that was the biggest struggle for real. Cause I mean,
Yeah,
as much as I like to talk about events that go on, and I mean this like with no like disrespect. I think when it comes to black culture content,
yeah,
is very much driven in gossip and what's going on with
absolutely,
things that I
absolutely.
don't even know what's really going on. You know what I mean? Like I don't know any of these people. Um, the music takes, I'm all for it because I mean music is opinion, like that's
Yeah,
art,
yeah,
it's subjective. But
exactly.
like somebody famous they got cheated on, like they ain't got nothing to do with me, man. Or
Listen, because this is the thing, right? When it comes to celebrity gossip, yeah, it's a lane for all of that. And me and Johnny really try to stay clear of those things when we talk about it on the pod. But the thing is, like, I would hate for somebody to discuss my dirty laundry. Like, I really would hate that. Like, I'm nowhere near a celebrity or anything like that. But let's say me and the wife fall out. God damn it, I don't want anybody talking about this. Like, I don't want anybody talking about it. So, but I mean, that's kind of like the things you sign up for when you're a celebrity. But I think there's so much to get into besides celebrity gossip and things that make the algorithm turn in that way. I'm fine. I don't ever have to pay attention to that.
yeah, that and then also I think even now, like, what's really consumed, at least on the outside in, man, is, all these multiple conversations. And I think you actually provide a perspective on this. Is that, we see a lot of conversations today on relationships and like what it means to actually have a positive and healthy relationship. And I think within our culture, and this is gonna be my hot take for today,
Yeah.
uh, I think our culture worries too much on how to present something in a way that was never meant for us in the first place. Now, let me take a second to explain real quick.
Yeah, I want to
So,
see.
the biggest thing, and I don't mean this with disrespect, I understand where it comes from, is, this whole idea of like, what does somebody bring to the table and like
Mm,
50-50 and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I think a lot of folks are failing to realize that it is more than just a financial thing.
Yeah.
of one that's being presented. So I think when we have these people do these hot takes on what somebody should and should not do, biggest thing we really don't talk about though, for real, man, is like a lot of this stuff is from a Eurocentric perspective.
Mm.
Hate to call it how it is, man, but it is. You know, like a lot of it, and it doesn't mean it's wrong. Like I don't think there's nothing wrong of a man taking care of a wife,
Yeah.
paying everything. There's no issue with that.
Yeah.
I think the thing is within our culture specifically that makes it more of an issue is that we are hurting people that are trying to probably do those things, and they may not be there at that point in time. Like I don't think people really understand on both sides how hard it is to be a black man, but also how hard it is to be a black woman. So when you have two broken sides, you got two broken sides coming together, and the views aren't the same.
Hmm.
Um, it's not gonna help.
You know what?
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, no, I totally agree.
Okay.
The biggest thing I hate about gender war conversations, no one chooses to hear the other side, right? It's always you take it as a complaint and then you move on.
Yeah.
And it seems like the people that are the loudest on social media about these things probably either already have a mate or like super single. But it's like it's really like no
Oh,
in
in
between,
between.
if
Yep.
that makes sense. It's always two extremes.
Yep.
And I honestly hate the conversation. Like me and my wife have these debates all the time, right? And I could be on the side of the man or the side of the woman if I just see that it's that's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think people just really lost the art of communication and nobody wants to really be in love anymore. If your marriage or your relationship is going to be a business, is it going to be transactional in that way? Let it be that. But don't confuse it with the love because like love and business, they just don't mix, bro. Like they
Never.
don't.
I never will.
They
No.
never will. So
No.
if you're looking for a business partner and someone to just be on your arm, go do that. But if you're looking for love, love is not. Listen, I'm not telling you to be no fool. Like you know what I'm saying. Don't you know what I'm saying? Like don't pick nobody up off the street. Like
Right.
I do believe in dating someone that's in your space and on your level. Like you have to connect, but just don't go get anybody.
Yeah, and I think because remind me, how long you been married? I know you've been married for a
Been
minute.
married 3 years. 3 years.
3 years. And how
Mhm.
long? How long were y'all together
We were
before?
together 5 before we got married.
Okay, so I gotta ask because I'm gonna try to get clickbait out of this now. So let me ask anyway. How long did it take you
Hmm.
to propose to your wife?
Well, it took. The thing is, well, honestly, I knew, right? And this is where we can talk about how my feelings were and how traumatic it was, right?
Right,
I felt like I wasn't ready because I was running a blind race comparing myself to other men around me, my friends, right?
right.
They had everything together. And I just wanted to get that before I said, hey, let's do this. But not knowing that you got to struggle before you get to wherever you're going to get to, you got to struggle to get that. So the moment we said, I was like, hey, you know what? Let's get married. Like, not like that,
I know.
propose, a nice proposal, right? I didn't hit it with like, hey, will you
Hey,
marry
what you
me?
mean?
What we doing? Like, we gonna do it? Nah, no, it wasn't
No,
that.
no.
But just kind of, it was, it was like something I had to get past because I didn't give her enough credit to believe that she would be there with me to kind of figure this shit out. And that's where, I think a lot of my hangups were, you know. But my wife is my best friend. And I don't mean that as like the most cliche thing to say. No, I literally mean that. She's my nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the homie. So
Yeah,
nobody makes me laugh more than her. So it's just
yeah,
really that.
yeah.
Um, it's just you have to get out your own way. And that was what I had to learn. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? I had to learn that.
No, I think that's I mean, I think you kind of nailed it on the head, man. I think what a lot of people don't recognize is, and I think this is a lesson that I've learned a
Mm-hmm.
long time ago, is that you do meet people where they're at. Yeah, as
Yeah.
much as I used to say, "Oh, that's an excuse," I mean, it's the truth, though, man. Like you really do meet people where they're at. I do think in our case as men, our ego can get in the way of a good thing, or we feel like we have to be in a place of stability. And I think a lot of people don't recognize that. what keep most men up at night is not necessarily the fear of commitment. Is can I actually financially be able to be their provider? I think that often gets overlooked. Now, yes, there's a large mass of men out here who do not necessarily want to be providers. And when people make those grievances, I 100% agree on their frustration, especially with black women who I think really do. They wait around for a while. Gotta give credit when it's due. They do be waiting around for a while now, so I can understand why people
Mhm.
could be tired. I just think that again, sometimes when you meet somebody where they're at, you aren't really getting the full picture of somebody. And sometimes men usually find themselves when they are in the most struggling situation. Can't be mad at that, but you also can't, I also understand the other end too. It's like, you may not want to be with somebody that's struggling, but
Yeah,
I guarantee you that at some point that man will fall and crumble. I don't care how much money he got because
yeah,
life happens. You got life
exactly.
traumatic experiences where I don't care how much money you got, you lose somebody you care about. No money matter at all. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Uh,
absolutely.
so that's why I don't think that. I think that's the hard part, and that's why I'm hoping for like a restoration, not just for just black relationships, just relationships in general,
Yeah.
where we have to get out of the financial psyche of
Mhm.
determining the success of a relationship. Because I always say it's easy to get there, it's hard to keep it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we just have to do a lot of unwiring of the way we think, right? A lot of this comes from just what we deem to be social norms, right? The
Yep,
man is the provider, man is this, man is this, women do this, women do this. Like, okay, well, in most situations, if you got a real mate, listen, those things really don't work like that. Like, it's some days where I might cook dinner. Like, it's like, what are we talking about? Like, what is specific to gender norms, right? And you just have to really read your mate or whoever you're with, because like, really, all that shit doesn't matter if you're really trying to make it work with somebody, because things are going to be changing, things are going to be up, things are going to be down. That's why I said, if you're going to have a business partner, do that. But if you're going to be in love, it's really compromise.
that's the hard part, man.
Oh yeah,
So what?
absolutely.
So what's the key to compromising? With somebody, hey, when two people come together, man,
Whew,
that's look. I know me, so
I know.
I can be
Oh
stubborn. So
man, listen. One thing marriage has taught me, and it makes me feel like I'm such an OG when I'm not. Like, I'm still new to the marriage game, but it's just like it's an everyday thing. Is literally every day. I wake up every day to choose love, and I choose to be here, and I choose to be present in my marriage. And the compromise is thinking about what benefits us before what benefits me.
that's a bar.
And it's
That's a
so
bar.
it's such a struggle, bro, because you've been this individual for so long. Even if y'all been dating, you can still pick your up and go. She's the beneficiary on my life insurance. Like, things get different when paperwork is involved, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. But it's the compromise is just figuring out that person, and that person always evolves and changes, as do you. So what are you willing to compromise on for them, and what are they willing to compromise for you for the sake of the relationship?
Yep.
Because there's some always going to be some give and take. Some
Yep.
days I'm giving 70 and it's 30, and it's never 50-50.
Thank you for saying that.
Get that out of
Thank
your
you for saying that.
head.
Thank you. I've always said that. I hate when people, and I don't want to use hate because I do. I really hate when people think every day is going to be the same exact day. Every day is not sunshine and flowers. And everybody loves each. Because to me, that's not realistic. And I'm not saying like there's nothing wrong with wanting a happy, healthy relationship. Like I think that is great. I think if you predicate your success of your relationship strictly based off your happiness, it's going to implode. That's just my opinion because there's so many factors outside of the relationship alone that will make your relationship with that person miserable. If you hate
Mhm.
your job and you hate everything else around you, this person isn't going to necessarily make it better, nor should you expect them to make it
Better.
better. Like like I, at least in my opinion, you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Hmm.
I don't think you expect your wife alone. to
Hmm.
make you happy for
No,
everything in your life.
absolutely not. Like, do I see her as like a percentage of the source of my happiness?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, not I don't depend on her for that. Like I can find my solace in a lot. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people fail to realize. I have identity. I have things that's outside of my marriage that can provide me the things that I need and the tools that I need because you have to have that. Everything you can't one person can't provide you one thing. Like and I'm sorry to say that. And I'm not saying like I seek things outside of my marriage. That's not what I'm saying. Like there are things and people that relationships and bonds that I can get that build me up as a person, as a man, that my
Mm,
wife can't provide for me.
right. I think that's the thing. So what's the biggest lesson you learned um just as a married man that, I guess more about yourself. Like what's the biggest thing you learned about yourself that maybe you had to like work on, or did you feel like you had to improve on, or just anything? Like what's the biggest lesson you think you've
Um,
learned so far?
I think I had to learn how to communicate better, right? Now, I have siblings and they were always on my father's side, but I was raised as the only child on my mom's, right?
Okay, like me.
So
Okay. Yeah.
so when it came to like the art of communication with certain things, I didn't have that. So when you get into a relationship with somebody that you have to live with and you have to constantly say things, like you have to constantly do things, it's just like, oh my God. But that's one thing I had to learn. I think the communication was something that I'm learning. I'm even learning still. Like I haven't
Yeah.
mastered it at all.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the art of communication with somebody that I'm dealing with every day. And it's like, because me and my brother, God rest his soul, like we had a great relationship. But, I didn't see him as much as I would like to because we didn't live in the same house.
Right.
So that's a different dynamic. So I think communication, honestly, bro, is just something that I struggled with like coming into it. I currently struggle with, but it's not as bad. But and I think a lot of things, therapy and everything, just kind of helped me kind of shake out of it.
So when you say communication, are you just talking about like your actual needs, like
Yeah,
feelings? Yeah.
communicating actual needs and feelings, and that's like one thing I didn't even know I struggle with.
You ain't the
And
only one.
and when I don't get my way, this is where the only child kicks in. So
Oh.
so I didn't know. Like
Yeah.
you don't know until you don't like until something happens, right?
Yeah.
And you have to go through a lot of like I use the word unwiring, just try to unfigure, just try to untie those knots and try to figure it out again. And then, I come to you as a 36-year-old man, so it's like I'm trying to change how I view things and communicate things. It's been successful for me up until said point. So I'm like, well,
Right. No, that's I mean, I feel like that's every man's struggle is
yeah,
the ability to express. And I think I'm somebody that at least have tried to take pride in being more open. But I definitely fall short. A lot of that is, man, a lot of that is ego, honestly. Ego and pride, man. I think the downfall of every
yeah,
man.
yeah.
'Cause I think at least for us, and I think most men can relate, but I know for black men in particular, the idea of looking weak it's always been like an innate fear of mine. So when people always say, why don't you express yourself more? It's like, well, it's not that I don't think a man doesn't want to express himself. I think that the biggest fear is that the expression gets used against them.
The worst thing you can do is tell somebody your innermost thoughts, and then it's weaponized against you. That's
Hmm.
the worst thing, right? I come to you in confidence about whatever it is, right? And it's weaponized against you in jokes or um, whatever the case may be. So it's like you're trying to like express yourself and let your expressions be known. But if it's going to be used against you, you know what? I'm all right.
No, so that's definitely that's definitely it. So, if you don't mind, let's transition to something. I know that one of the reasons why I want to reach out, and obviously feel free to share whatever.
Yeah.
But just like the other side of things too, like when we are as black men, we as people, I won't even, I'm just not even make about us as people. When we deal with those hard times, man,
Mhm.
how do we, how have you best like navigate through that? Cause it looks different for everybody. But I
Yeah.
think with us in particular, I'm going back to us, how we deal with trauma looks a lot different, I think, than
Mhm.
other people. I think it's often feel like it's suppressed.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends on your upbringing. It depends on like how you view spirituality. Like it depends on how you view your mental health care. Right? What does that look like for you? Um, Somebody that grew up as a church kid, right? I'm churched out. I don't particularly like go to a church religiously every Sunday anymore. Um, and that's because I just it was and this is a conversation I think me and you had. I was just like, well, listen, ever since my mama died, it's just kind of rough for me to go to church. That's just where I'm at with it. So I still have a healthy prayer life.
Mhm.
I'm still, I might tune into like, a little YouTube something, to give me something to, motivate me to keep me going. But going to church every Sunday, that's out. That's, and that's just my feeling on it. And but you have to stay connected to a higher power. I'm not sitting here trying to convert people to Christianity or whatever. Believe in what you want to believe in, but
Yep.
believe in something. That's all.
Mhm.
That's all I kick to anybody. And mental health. Oh my God! Like if I wasn't in therapy before, I've had a lot of traumatic experiences leading. So I had therapy leading up to a lot of the things that I went through. So if I didn't have that framework around me, I don't know how I would be able to function just with
Oh,
the spiritual sense, mental health, and then even like you allude to me going to work out. Hey, listen, bro, I got to do something. Like, and the more I live, the more I become an adult. Like, because I'm a full grown adult, which is something that blows me every day I think about it. I understand why people have addictions and people kind of go to like substances and things of that nature. And that's not anything that I'm promoting or kicking to anyone, but I can understand how traumatic experiences lead you down a dark path. And I was like, I'm thankful to, the God that I pray to and the things that my mental, fortitude that I haven't went down that path
yep.
because it could have been, we,
Yeah.
me and you couldn't even be having this conversation if I wasn't, good.
No, man, I'm telling you, bro, I never forget. Like I said, the last time I saw you,
Hmm.
I don't remember the timeline, but I do feel like you had a series of traumatic events like relatively close
Hmm.
to each other. And I just remember I don't, I don't know if it was the tequila at that point, but it was the most
Yeah.
open and honest conversation I think I've had with
Well,
anybody
it,
during that time. But
it,
I at that moment though, I really recognized your strength as a person, man.
hmm
Because I think from somebody outside, and I haven't lost those close people yet. Does it consume my mind all the time? Absolutely, because
hmm
I'm very much driven in realism of thinking.
yeah.
So it's like I know at some point, the same stories are, I'm going to share it too. I just think that how, at least on the outside in, on the way how you've handled it, I definitely want to commend you for it because you're right, man. There's addictions
hmm
addictions go down strong. Like it's tough, man.
yeah.
It's very easy to get addicted because it takes away the pain. Like
Pain.
most people don't want to sit with their problems, man. Like, and I don't even judge somebody for that no more. But no
it's
people,
like it's like if I see somebody kind of strung out, I'm like, oh, like I like
I
not to
get
make
what you're saying
light,
though.
yeah, not to make light of it, but
Yeah,
listen, man, there's so much like we talked about, like we had our drunken moment in therapy session, but those words were needed, and you didn't understand how much what that did for me. So I appreciate you
ah,
for that. But it's rough, and for the listeners, I don't even mind telling this. Like I lost my father, my little brother, and my mother all within 9 months of each other.
that was what. Yep.
So that's pretty much what happened, right? I
Mhm.
got married. 3 weeks later, my father passes of liver disease. 9 months later, my mom contracts, COVID or whatever, and my brother died of a car wreck while I was like waiting for my mother, like seeing if she would survive like the breathing treatments. So
Ooh.
12 days before my mom passed, my brother died in a car wreck. Like a drunk driver hit him. He was on the side of the road on Highway
Yeah,
70 in St. Louis. So I, so having to deal with three funerals in 9 months for people that I'm really, really close to, and being front row and having to deal with funeral arrangements and things like that, and dealing with the death, like the business of death. That's something that like
nobody talks about.
nobody talks about that. So I just employ people that kind of have like business in order, because when people are gone, they're gone, and but their bills and their paperwork and things like that still stay, and those are things that we're left to kind of deal with and handle.
No, trust me. I mean, these are things that obviously don't want to think about, and so. But yeah, I said, man, I remember, like I said, I remember when we talked. I do remember the story with mom. I remember you shared several things back to back, and I just sat there. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
dang, man, like this man is still he's trying. I'm like, he's
Mm-hmm.
still trying to like just live his life and try to act like there's a bit of normalcy in it. And I truly think that we lose a lot of sight of that side because a lot of us are so caught into what we're meant to do
Yes.
today. And I think that's one of the hardest things that I've learned. Just doing content itself. Like you kind of mentioned in the beginning, like being authentic. Like what do I want people to get out of this? Like, am I doing this really for myself? Or am I doing this so other people can actually get a sense of hope and inspiration? Because I'm sure on your end, man, there's been many times you probably shot content.
Mm.
Your mind not even there.
Exactly.
You're not
Exactly.
thinking about nothing else but what you got going on in life, but you know that other people they may need something, man. And that again,
Absolutely.
it goes back to a theory that life is all about service, man. I mean, that's like your wife is your best friend, but at the end of the day, y'all are serving each other through the
Yeah.
highs and through the lows. We just don't talk about the lows enough. And I really want us to start doing that more as people. That's why I applaud
Yeah.
you for even sharing that part. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like it's tough, man. I know it's
Yeah.
tough. I don't even try to act like it. Like, oh no, like that's that's some
Listen,
real shit, man. Like that's real.
whatever you see on social media, hey man, I don't think I put too much out there, and I don't
No,
think that what I have out there is like this big veil over the real, the real me. But my life is virtually an open book. Like whatever you see, that's pretty much what it is. Like it's no glitz or glamour to it. Like what I'm saying. I travel a little bit. Like what I'm saying. Like I don't do a lot. What I'm saying. Not for the sake of content or social media, but it's just, man, live your life, man, and just try to be the best you, the most authentic you, because you can live your life trying to be something for somebody else, and you miss out on so much else, so much more.
man. With us as adults, as you like unlearn a lot,
Hmm.
a lot of it is parental.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes from something that happened in your childhood and something with parents. And so you
Hmm.
try to find it when you're an adult with partners. Um, and there's a truth that I personally don't think that a partner can actually fix that problem
No,
alone.
and,
They don't.
and it's not on them too. Like you
No.
don't know how you need to be loved.
Nope.
You don't know that.
Nope.
You think you do,
Nope.
but you have to figure that out. You have to figure out. I hate love languages, but it's a real thing.
Dude, I was about to
I
go
hate,
there.
I hate it. I hate it. Like you said, like I hate to use the
Yes.
word hate. I
Yes.
I don't really like the notion of it, because hell, if you ask me, I like all of them should apply to me. Like what I'm saying,
Yep.
all of them should be applicable. But
Yep.
there are certain ones that probably mean more to others.
100%.
But all that stuff should work.
Yeah, that's all I want to get to. It's not. I don't have an issue with love language in the sense of like what somebody may need.
Hmm.
I think what people I think can forget is again, you're meeting somebody whether at how they were raised.
Hmm.
So let's say you came from a big, heavy physical touch family.
Yeah.
Your partner did not. Your partner may never, never, ever change the
Hmm.
ability to want to be more affectionate because that's not how they were raised. Now they could try to meet you in the middle, but at the end of the day, they may never ever change that because of how they were raised. If you
Mhm.
come from a family that was always very argumentative, you're probably gonna
Mhm.
have a more argumentative partner because that's what they're used to. A lot of
Mhm.
us are used in chaos in different ways. I mean,
Oh
and
my
again,
god.
myself included. I mean, I think for the most part, I've seen a lot of healthiness, but I
Yeah.
also think that one of my bigger flaws when it does come to seeing somebody dating somebody is that for me, I can get defensive.
Yeah.
I can get defensive when there are certain critiques made about me because I used to struggle growing up
Mhm.
trying to please everybody or feeling
Mhm.
like that I was
Mhm.
good enough. And so when you would critique
Mm.
something about me,
Yeah.
I naturally get defensive. That's
Mm.
something I'm still
Mm.
working on. It's
Mm.
got better, but I'm
Mm.
just saying though, like, I've been in therapy for about 3 years. So one of the things that's the biggest thing I learned about me as a kid. A lot of my life
Mhm.
because I grew up like you as well. That's pretty
Mhm.
much like I was an only child, but also in my situation, I was kind of like the golden child. I never, everybody kind of put me on this weird pedestal. I never got in trouble for real. My mom didn't play. I went to certain, went to high school, went to CBC, thing like that. Like people put me on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And so I learned, but I always felt like it was never enough though, because I would always hear like a however, a but. And so,
Mhm.
when I started to write, like, I mean, I write, a
Mhm.
lot of that was driven in the fact that I have to do something that's so out the box to be recognized as a person.
Bro.
That's where a lot of it stemmed from. I'm like, why do I do so much? And that's what I
Rash-
realized. Like, I'm trying to do so much so people can just see that, I'm here.
Rash- Rashad, man, you're like you giving me like body shots right now because I feel like we're talking the same thing. We live the same life.
Yeah.
When it comes to like the not the overachiever, but and it's like you're not vying for attention. You're just trying to see if people see your value.
It's always
And
been my problem.
and
Yep.
that's the problem that I struggle with too.
Yep.
So if you're in romantic relationships, of friendships, relationships with your family, you always try to make sure that they see you, but you
Yep.
don't rock the boat necessarily because you don't want to like sever the relationship. You don't want it to change. You just want
No.
them to see you and value you. So a lot of
No,
that's
dude, I'm just saying, like
yeah, that's exactly what I've struggled with before.
even overextending yourself. Like
Yeah,
I've
that part
been
too. Like feeling like you have to kind of fix things when that's not even your place. That's not you don't have to do that. Sometimes people just want to know if you have the bandwidth to handle the things that they're talking about. You don't have to actually be hands on with the situation at all. But that's just how you're hardwired. That's you as a person being genuine. You know what I'm saying? And that's where uh you probably have a lot of people that just flock to you and don't even know why. You don't even know why, right?
oh no, it happens all the
Yeah, yeah, like
time.
you just have people telling you your life story and everything. Like, oh
All the
man,
time,
that's
man.
crazy. But I'm glad you shared that with me. Like, that's usually I have that happen to me all the time. But it's just something about your spirit that draws people in.
Yeah, that's yeah, I think that's, but also the biggest lesson I learned with that too is like even like from a romantic sense of
Hmm.
uh your partner can't fix everything.
No.
And I think sometimes the partner has to recognize you can't fix everything. Some things are so out of everybody's jurisdiction. There's absolutely nothing you can do. It doesn't make you a bad partner. It doesn't mean you are incapable of being loving to that person. Some people are just going through enough real life situations
Hmm.
where there's nothing nobody can do. I went through a situation like that. There was nothing nobody can do.
Yeah.
You just, hey, all you can do is look. I'm telling you, because I was very transparent in that state.
Hmm.
Nothing nobody can do. I ain't gonna
Absolutely.
complain about it either. Like, yeah, there's moments, but I'm not going to sit there
Hmm.
and make you feel like you can change it, And I think I had to work on the best was like saying you've never been in my shoes. Of course not, right? It's even if it's a very similar situation, it's gonna be about
Yeah.
perspective. So I had to learn to stop saying that. But I think the biggest thing was just like recognize like whoever it is, friends, family, parents, like there's
Hmm.
only so much they can do. Some
Facts.
storms you were just meant to be in
By
by
yourself.
yourself.
Absolutely.
And it
Absolutely.
sucks when you in it by yourself, but at the end of
Hmm.
the day though, my dad told me that a long time ago. One of the the biggest lessons he told me as a kid, man, is that everybody gets a chance at that front row. And what he was referring to was he was obviously referring to like losing a parent, right, or
Mhm.
a funeral or whatever. But he also was applying that to life. Like at some point, man, you get your turn,
Mhm.
and you in that front row, and it's just hitting you left and right, and you have
Mhm.
to deal with it. Ain't
Yeah.
nothing you can do. But it happened. But he told me it don't happen once; it happens several times. It's just
Oh yeah. Yeah.
each time you just learn a little bit different to deal with it. You actually, you know what? Off this is off the topic. You may know him. He at Q as well, man. That's
What's
yeah. My
what's
dad name is Stan. He go by TC.
TC? I probably know his face if I don't
Yeah,
know.
you try. I am frank, very confident. You know who my father. Everybody know who my dad is. Dad, if
Okay,
you
say less.
trust me, everybody know who my dad is. All you gotta say is TC, and I guarantee you, somebody know. I used to
Gotcha,
hate that
gotcha.
growing up as a kid. Go somewhere, I'd be like, dog. No, can you put that out there, man? I'm gonna clip that for him so he can feel good, so I can attack it. No, everybody knows him, but no, yeah, man. I just think, yeah, we all have something we deal with. I just think the biggest thing is I've just learned to just kind of face things now, man. Just face it head on, man. This is who I am. This is what I bring with. And I think if people actually did that more when
Mhm,
they are connecting with people, I
mhm.
actually think that people would find more success in connecting with people. I think a lot of us put facades up for so long. I always say, I'm gonna see the real side anyway. At some point. You know what I mean? All right, you just say what you got dealing with. You ain't got to tell me your deepest, darkest secrets, but like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It'll make it easier though. I do think
yeah,
that.
absolutely. Like the longer you deal with somebody or see things, like you'll start to see the real them, and
Yep.
the truth always rises to the top, no matter what, no matter what. So we'll get to it at. If we don't get to it now, we'll get to it a few days, few weeks, few months, a year. Like it always comes out. So
Yeah, I think that's the best time when you really learn somebody's actually there for you or not. Like as far as like a partner.
yeah, absolutely.
Or not even a partner, just friendship, whatever. Like it don't really
Yeah,
matter. It's just like when you're going through some real stuff
yeah,
and somebody's make it's a difference. Like you cannot do anything. It's one thing, but if somebody's willing to make an attempt to be there, that's how you know somebody's intentions. You got to give credit to people like that because usually when people get any side of discomfort, they usually run.
yeah.
I think that's the bigger issue in our time today is that we run at the first sight of discomfort. Because one of the last thing I'll say about theories, I
Hmm.
hate when people use the grass is always greener somewhere else. I think that's like the biggest piece of trash that could be said because it's not the truth though. Like
Hmm.
somebody's like, "Oh, I just go find better." Well, you still gotta have it. Still gotta be watered though. Like the same.
Okay, okay, I get where you're going now. Like
You know what I mean? Like
I get where you're going. It's
you know,
like
so like
it's
when
like
things go ahead.
no, no, good. No, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying like when things go left with somebody, right? And depending on where they are in life, people like, well, uh I think when you're with somebody sometimes like there could be a drop off. Like maybe you're
Yeah,
not as attentive or whatever. Like
yeah,
it could be a sense of comfort. And because you've been with somebody for a while.
yeah.
At some point, I think people get in people's ears and like, oh, it could be better elsewhere. And sometimes it can be. Like if you truly are being mistreated,
Hmm.
there is somebody probably better for you,
Yeah,
potentially.
yeah.
The same thing that I will always say as rebuttal, though,
Mhm.
that person still will do the same thing that person did at some points because there is a level of drop off that happens because life can happen to that person as well. So somebody could be overly romantic at first. They give you everything they want. They buy you everything.
Yeah,
And as soon as they got you, they can stop.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm more so saying when people are like,
Yeah.
oh, the grass is always greener elsewhere. It's like it can be, but still gotta water it, man. Like it still requires the same level of attention and care. And the problems in that situation go different than the other one.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of like leaning into your point. Like, if it's not being watered, then what are you doing? It's like the work from within has to, has to exude because, like, I think of people that leave their hometown, and this is not me talking with you, but just like, how someone may say, "Hey, I'm going to Houston, I'm going to Atlanta."
Hey, don't do
Right.
that.
No, we doing it. But no, no, no. Like the work has to be there. Like, yeah, like you can move for a job and things like that, but if you're just saying I'm moving to Houston and you're not working on yourself. Like this is not. I can't say this with Rashad because Rashad is working on himself, so that's not applicable, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but to the people that just say, "Hey, I'm leaving," okay,
Oh, I hate
like,
that.
so you're gonna do the same thing here, there that you're doing here. Like, I just, I hate to hear that, because if you're gonna move, be different. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily reinvent yourself, but find the better things about yourself. And then if you have to come back, you're better here because you're better in your like you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like college, right? Like if you go away for 4 years of school, invest in your damn self. So when you come back or wherever you move to, you are a better version. That's all I'm saying when it
I
comes to that.
agree. I think that's when I did move here, that was the one thing I didn't think I was gonna do because I very much like even in my job, like people call me St. Louis. 'Cause I talk about home all the time. Like
Yeah.
I never want to be that person, and I hate seeing it. It annoys me so much.
Yeah.
Where it is like, well, I moved away from home, and home was never nothing to do at home, and like
Mhm.
my rebuttal always to those situations is that what did you do at home? What did no? I'm
Exactly.
saying like what did you do at home that you're doing differently here? Because all a new city adds is new. Like Chicago is much bigger than St. Louis, so yes, naturally there's gonna be more things to do.
Things.
But
Hmm.
I guarantee you, at some point, it's going
Hmm.
to feel the same because that newness is going to wear off. If you're doing the
Exactly.
same thing here, it's not going to matter. Yes, we can go into the experience being in St. Louis and especially being black in St. Louis Shore. There's an experience with that.
Hmm.
There's a circle that
Yes.
we like to
Exactly.
talk about. It's silos, whatever.
Yeah.
But you also think about it. That's a small population. When I hear people talk about St. Louis, they love it. I'd be like, dang, I ain't had this experience. It's different. I ain't never heard nobody talk about it like that. No, but I understand like why people leave. And like I told you, like
Yeah.
I left to try something different to say that I tried, but
Yeah.
never once did I say I would never come back.
Mhm.
I just like I've told my mom's told me it's a big world out here, man. Like I always say, if the money was always right and I can live where I want to live, I come back home. 'Cause I already know
Yeah.
where I will live at.
Yeah.
Makes a perfect sense. But until then, until there's an opportunity, then yeah, continue to expand and explore. But
Yeah.
home is home, man. And that is stupid. I think that's the stupidest thing to say. The people that we inspire to be like, all ironically, they all got a house back where they from.
Right. Right. Exactly.
That ain't made no sense to me. I'm like, your favorite artist got a home back at home.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Because there's a familiarity, there's a comfort, there's a safety. It's like, regardless, yeah, St. Louis got his own issues. It's hot. We know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to
Yeah.
drive a little different. I
Absolutely.
understand, but
Absolutely.
it's still home. It's what we know. There's a familiarity. And yeah, like you say, you leave and you come back, you learn something be better. You know what to do. But if you're doing the same things here
Mhm,
that you
mhm.
gonna do in Houston, it
Do
ain't
do
gonna
this
really
stay
matter so
stay
much.
this shit in. The cost of living is higher there. So what you go
Cost of
like?
living. Hey, man, people go to Houston for brunch, man. That's it. They go to brunch. Hey, people go to Houston just to go to brunch, man.
Man,
No
exactly.
disrespect, brunch is great, but like I just think that I think people just have to expand their minds on why they're
Absolutely.
trying to move. You're actually trying to move and grow and better yourself, then go for it. But if you're just
Absolutely.
doing it to have fun, then
Yeah.
you're gonna
People.
miss like, and maybe I had to learn that because I have very much have taken my life. I've learned like I can take it too serious sometimes.
Hmm.
Cause I think it's like anybody else, like you're trying to just use a destination you're trying to reach. But also I think on the other end too is like you kind of gotta take it serious, man, if you're really trying to get to where you want to go to. Cause like
Absolutely.
all the fun stuff that people do, like it's relatively temporary, man. Like at some point, you gotta get tired of going out every week. You got to.
Exactly.
Got to. Like
You
at
would
some point
you
you
would
get old.
think right, but people don't have like some people. I'm not going to speak on anybody, but it's just like I think my warped sense of reality, and I'm not going to speak for anybody else but Ralph. It's just that with social media, you think that that's all they do, and they might be able to balance the scale with both. I doubt it, but I hate, I think I give people a little bit more credit than they
No,
actually
for
should
sure.
have.
Yeah.
But it's just, you have to be focused, and I think when you're actually focused, like those things don't matter. The nightlife doesn't matter. So if you ask me, if I move to Houston or Dallas or these, DC or these hot spots where a lot of black people are, I can be focused because I go out here in nauseum. So like a new brunch in a new city is not gonna do that much for me. Like, yeah, oh, it's new black people I haven't seen before, but that's it. Like I get chicken and waffles anywhere, my nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not
Facts.
I'm not like most brunch food is like pretty much standard across the board. Like
Brunch staple, chicken and waffles,
chicken
man.
and waffles. Like what we doing here? All right,
Chicken and
cool.
waffles, bottomless mimosas. Like,
All right,
I mean,
cool.
again, I don't, and I try to, who I am. I don't want people to, if you like going out, have like I'm not
Have
that person. I
fun.
would
Have
never
fun.
judge somebody based off what they do to have fun because life is short, and if you should have
Absolutely.
it, so never that. I think the thing is though, it's like okay, at some point we are going to face ourselves with a reality of we're going to ask ourselves what are we doing with ourselves? And I think that's the biggest thing I kind of at least try to do with my content is just try to paint a picture of my
Mhm,
own self-reflection. Because this is the things I think about all the time, man. 98% of my thoughts, I'm asking myself, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing?
mhm,
That's most things that keep me up at night, man. It ain't got nothing to do with money. Yeah, money matters, but it's like,
mhm,
am I doing what I am meant to do
mhm.
and not only like in my view how God has designed us as people, but am I doing what I am designed to do as a person to actually create maximum fulfillment?
Yeah.
That's really it. But yeah, it's having fun is fine. But I think why a lot of us struggle mentally is because a lot of us are running around with our heads cut off,
Yeah.
not knowing what we really want to do or
Mhm,
struggling or not feeling like we're being fulfilled because we're doing these lackluster jobs or whatever that we know we don't want to do and then we hide it by going out, etc., which again is nothing wrong with that, but when you spend your time every week focusing on the weekend,
mhm.
and I think that's the biggest thing I've learned. It's like we need to have a conversation and not in a judgmental way because I get it. Like a lot of us are doing that because we're trying to escape that. We hate what we do every day. But
Yeah.
something has to change. There has to be some sort of internal inner work to be like, all right, why do I really not like what I do?
Mm,
What is it? Why is it? And that's so many of us across the world, bro. And like I said, at least I think what like I'm in school right now to be a therapist, man. Like I pay attention to this
mhm,
stuff all the time. Like, bro, like our world, most of us are depressed as shit
mhm, mhm,
every day.
mhm.
Not even about like life happening, just simply existing.
Mm.
Because every time we get on our phone, we scroll and we have these highlight reels. And
Yeah.
obviously, as creators, we know it because not only are we posting the content, it's simple. We post the content. All right, we're gonna check our phone, see how many numbers we did,
Right.
see how
Right.
many likes we got, right? And then depending on where you are, messes with your head. Oh, that wasn't a good one. You spent maybe 4 hours editing
Developing
that
it.
clip,
Yes.
thinking, oh, that's the one. Like
Mhm.
I've even learned, like I ain't look, bro. I don't even do that no more, man. Look, I edit, I put it out. I maybe check one or two times, and I don't check it for a couple hours. 'Cause I learned I was going to be in a cycle. That's
Yeah.
like, why am I chasing the likes and the views? Like, yeah, you like. Let's be real. Like, you make content. I don't care. What nobody say. If you're a content creator and you say you don't do this, you lying to yourself. Make content to be recognized.
Absolutely.
We don't. We can't lie to ourselves here. Who don't want to be recognized for saying something, doing something? That's why content's made. I think once you remove that thought, though,
Mhm.
you're making content to do something bigger than yourself. And whatever comes from that, man. Like I think Keith Lee is a prime example, in my opinion. I think he did something naturally
Mhm.
just to deal with something, but it became bigger than life. Now,
Absolutely.
like they're doing food reviews, man. He's eating food.
Traveling, like
Travel eating food. But think about like the goodness he is doing
yeah, yeah.
now because of that. I wonder if he had that same thought sometimes. Like it's not even about being recognized. Let's make it bigger than that. Let's try to give these people who are struggling to maintain they business something. Now you blessing, like that's how it should be. But
Absolutely.
a lot of our content now, man, is centered around. I'm gonna sound so judgmental, but I don't mean it. I think Get Ready With Me is a great. I do. I can't do the Target one, bro. I
You can't
can't
do the target one.
I can't do the Target one, bro. Now I'm not gonna hate on bro
Yeah, yeah,
because obviously it worked. I think it was a brand deal. And I think it's brilliant to put yourself out there
yeah.
because I think people forget, like, as a content creator, you're creating content. That is their
Absolutely.
job.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think what has happened is that we have normalized the basic things that we do every not normalized, we over glamorize the basic things. Like
Yeah.
a simple Target run now is becoming aesthetic. Like you gotta play some music in the background, you dancing, getting dressed. Like to me, I got past the cringe and I like looked at it from a business lens. But like you got somebody at home right now checking it, like, man, I don't even go to Target like that. You get what I'm saying? No, like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying. Like people will be looking at a basic run of a everyday activity that they do. It's not good enough because everybody not wishing that their life was like that too.
Everyday vlogs kind of bother me. Like I didn't realize that that was really a thing, and I didn't know that until my wife watches like a million women that do it all the time, right?
Mm.
And not now I can get like a travel one, travelers. Like I get that, but I'm talking about like every day. I go to, like you said, I go to Target. I come back home and cook for my husband. I check on my daughter. Like it's like we're going on a date night. It's really like a everyday. I was like, people watch this every
People,
day.
it
People
works.
like, and I'm talking about views. Like this young lady, like, and I'm not. It's not hating. I'm just
Mm.
I'm enamored by it.
I am too.
Like people that live their everyday life on YouTube and have literally retired, like left jobs because
Yeah,
I'm getting paid so much for these people to view me.
yeah.
I shout out, like
No,
salute, like
it's a real skill. Like I don't hate on it at all. I'm just like
that's
we
the
have
thing.
people. It's more so like from a mental aspect. Like you're sad because somebody went to Target, bro. Like, like there's nobody stopping you from doing that. It's just, do you want to look ridiculous in somebody else's eyes? I don't care what nobody say. Drew, if you, I'm gonna clip this too. Drew, I appreciate you. Show me the way. Teach me the sauce.
Teach
Could
me the game,
obviously
bro.
work. Now, would I do that? I don't know. But for you to do that, to put a tripod out, do all that, man, and
I,
you get people clowning you, and you still getting paid. Kudos to you, man.
Listen, man, I love my privacy too much. Like, you know what I'm saying? I love to put out what I love to put out. But
Right.
when you give people, imagine if you did this and you didn't get the views. Imagine doing all this. Like imagine, you putting your life, your daily life out there, you weren't getting the views, the recognition, the money, or whatever. I mean, of
Oh
course
yeah.
the grind has to come from somewhere, but still,
It wouldn't be the same.
you know,
If likes and views didn't exist, it wouldn't be the same.
no, it
I
would
don't
be.
care. I don't care what nobody says. People be like, I post for me. No, you don't.
The lies, the
No, you
lies,
don't. It
delusion.
is for you, yes,
Mm.
but it is also a documentation unconsciously to me for other people to see. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. People who do fitness things, I love it. You
Mhm.
posting your gym progression every day, I love it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
That's what somebody like.
it's
Listen,
for somebody at some
else to
point.
see, right? And I'm shout out to people that are, for one, inspired by what I do, which is crazy. Like I don't think about it in that way,
Yeah,
but I definitely post because like I'm making progression and I want people to see
yeah,
the progression. Like let's
exactly.
not get it twisted. Like, yeah, I do post for me, but it's for people to see that I'm actually doing the work. So
That's
when I pop out and you see me a little slimmer, I didn't go get the surgery. It's cool, if you do that, but I did do it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do that. Now I'm not knocking nobody away to do that because
nah
sometimes,
for
man,
sure.
listen, you just disposed to it. You can't get it off of you, but it's working for me right now.
Yeah, no, I just want us to be. I just want us to be honest with ourselves moving to this year, man. I think content creation is beautiful. I just for those, that's enough. For those who are just in that space of like when they feel like their life is lost because they're drowning themselves in content. I
Absolutely.
wish people would just take a step back and really, really think about how this is some weird illusion. Somebody recorded a bunch of rough edits
Hmm.
that they edit great for your eyes. You gotta think about how many takes that person may have did. Like you're getting a highlight reel of somebody's day. Doesn't mean anything else, nothing more, nothing less. Doesn't mean your life is less valuable. Like
Right.
it's like I said, you know, it's these are great and like I think it is life changing. You know, obviously this is why I think we still do it for as long as we do. With
Exactly.
the hopes that maybe one video will change our life. All it takes is one.
It
Really.
takes one.
All it takes is one, and then that's great. But then like on the other end too, it's like for those who don't do social media, like don't feel pressed to do it because that may not be you, man. This is a very uncomfortable space to be in.
Absolutely.
To open up and to tell people about yourself
On
with
the
the
day to day.
day
Like
to
this is
day.
the day to day. This is what I do every day. Someone can know your routine. Someone can know your husband, a wife's, your child's name, where you go to the gym. Like, no, that is that is a lot. That's all I'm
Man,
saying. That's a lot.
that's all I'm saying, man. It takes more, man. But listen, I appreciate this combo, man. Seriously, this was I'm glad we was able to. I mean, just catch up and catch up and
Absolutely.
make content at the
Uh,
same time.
Absolutely.
But I just want to say though, man, I'm proud of you, brother, as always.
Thank you.
And I always seek these moments or testaments to remind us of what's most important, man. You don't have to talk to somebody all the time to uh, feel like there's a brother. Like I've always felt like that's you and Johnny, older brothers, but I always felt more connected with you. I feel like I've seen you more
Hmm.
in spaces, and every time we talk, man, it's just always been something. Or every time I felt like I've just needed to check on you, man. I just want to do it because I think we very much go on a day to day. Like we see people, but we don't really acknowledge what they do, and it's not about a pat on the back, like oh yeah, like I did this. No, like I'm seeing somebody, and I want them to feel encouraged, man. Like
Yeah.
that I think about it. I was like, all right, man, this man told me what he had going on. Dude, let's see how he's doing, man. Time goes on and it doesn't wait for nobody, but
Absolutely
people
not.
still got feelings, man. And as black men in particular, we don't do this enough. I always take for
No.
something to happen for us to be like, oh, let me go check on my dog. Like, nah, man, like, it's what it is. Like,
Hmm.
see how you doing, man? I'm glad that things are going well. I know you said that y'all were taking a break.
Hmm.
What y'all want me back soon as far
Oh
as
yeah,
like
actually, when I get through with this, probably in another hour, we're probably gonna record something.
oh
So
well see man,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
great, man.
Oh
What y'all
yeah.
like on episode 500 now, man? I know y'all was
So
in the
two. I think 214, somewhere up in there. I don't know, man.
uh,
Listen,
people don't understand, man. It's a grind, man. Well,
it's a
hey,
grind. You gotta love this, man.
got to. Hey, I keep leaving and coming back.
All right.
Got breaks are necessary. I used to be that person, but we ain't taking no breaks. That's why Nick and them used to hate me so much. Cause I'm like, look, we got
You gotta
we
take a
can
break. You got to.
yeah, we've talked about it, man. I want to bring it back, man, but it's just
Yeah.
hard because I'm not there, and so
Yeah.
it's just more.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It's like when we came back, I was like, dang, I'm about to move, and I told
Yeah.
him, but we've talked about it. It's something that I do enjoy. It's just like I've always told them, like I tell anybody, man, you can't want to make content with me and not be serious about it though, like.
That part. That
And
part.
I'm not saying they weren't, but it's just like if we gonna do it,
We
y'all
gotta be
know
out.
me.
We gotta be committed.
I was like, if we gonna do it, we gonna do it. Y'all not gonna like me, but we gonna do it. Cause I just know how this stuff work, man. You gotta be consistent. So,
Absolutely.
brother, I appreciate you. I love you, man.
Love you too, man.
I know we will talk soon. And yeah,